The day after their triumphant victory over Turbo Granny, Okarun and Momo reunite at school. They share a pleasant conversation before parting ways to attend their separate classes. As Okarun finds joy in having a friend, he brushes off the harassment he faces in class. Meanwhile, Momo becomes lost in thought as her friends attempt to reach out to her. Momo confesses her desires to talk about aliens while Okarun is keen on discussing ghosts. Both blush with excitement, becoming increasingly eager to engage in conversation with each other. During their lunch break, Okarun and Momo attempt to locate each other around the school but have no success. They begin to worry that the other might be intentionally avoiding them, thinking they made a mistake earlier. As Momo and Okarun give up on finding one another, they accidentally bump into each other, their mouths making contact. In the moment of surprise, they realize that they both tried to find each other during lunch, dismissing any thoughts of avoidance. However, their accidental kiss catches the attention of Momo's friends who happen to witness the scene. Momo and Okarun deny the claim, but their disagreement escalates into insults, ultimately damaging their friendship. Okarun walks away to the bathroom feeling disappointed in himself and thinks that he should apologize. However, he's shocked to discover while relieving himself that despite regaining his genitals, his balls are missing. Elsewhere, an annoyed Momo becomes the center of attention after her classmates learn about her incident with Okarun. But the situation worsens for Momo when Okarun hilariously arrives, making an odd gesture with his hands below his crotch as he tries to talk to her. Momo, feeling irritated, tells Okarun that she's not in the mood to talk and asks him to leave, leading Okarun to believe that Momo is embarrassed to be seen with him. Feeling disappointed, he walks away. One of Momo's friends becomes surprised by Momo's overreaction, mentioning that she has never seen this side of her before. Later, Okarun walks out into the halls, wondering if Momo has already gone home. He then bumps into a female student and becomes flustered when the cute girl starts to talk to him kindly. Meanwhile, feeling disappointed in herself over what happened earlier, Momo spots Okarun with the girl he met, watching them smile as they depart. However, she overhears the girl talking to her friends about intentionally playing with Okarun's emotions by acting kind to him. Angered by the girl's manipulation of Okarun, Momo channels her power and drops a basin on the girl's head, leaving her friends confused about what caused it. Momo then tightly grabs Okarun's left arm, happily requesting to walk home together, and snarks back at the girl she targeted with the basin. While walking home, Momo apologizes to Okarun for her attitude earlier, which he accepts. However, he quickly shifts the topic to his situation of having his balls missing. Later at Momo's house, Okarun is laughed at by Momo upon hearing of his predicament and receives criticism from her grandmother for being careless. Okarun mentions that ever since his rod came back, he was so relieved that he had never noticed his balls. Momo's grandmother, seemingly perturbed by Okarun calling it a rod, opts to humorously name it a pencil instead. She asks Okarun to look inside, not at his rod, but rather using a mirror to inspect himself internally. After doing a quick inspection, Momo's told by her grandmother to grab a doll and a wash bowl after she finds out that something is inside of Okarun. After getting the wash bowl and a mannequin Nico, Momo's grandmother directs her to position the talisman on the doll. She then hits Okarun on top of the head with the Harrison and asks Momo if she saw anything change at that moment. Momo replies that she noticed Okarun's aura change to blue and is then requested by her grandmother to pull the aura out once it changes color again. After doing so, the three become surprised to see the doll come to life as it dashes out of the room. They try to catch it but fails. Then, using her psychic powers, Momo represses the doll, which reacts with irritation. Momo and Okarun then learn from Momo's grandmother that the doll is Turbo Granny, who reveals that she managed to survive being exorcised by turning into an astral form, placing herself within Okarun at the last minute. Turbo Granny then declares her intent to seek revenge on the trio once she regains her powers. This prompts Momo to berate Turbo Granny about her current vulnerability against them as a helpless doll. Aware of this vulnerability, Okarun demands that Turbo Granny return his balls while threatening her with the talisman. However, Turbo Granny suggests to Okarun that threatening her life would jeopardize his chance of getting his balls back. This realization dawns on both Okarun and Momo. Okarun is then demanded by Turbo Granny to kill both Momo and her grandmother in exchange for returning his balls back. Upon hearing this, Okarun emits a sigh before suddenly morphing into his Turbo Granny form in a fit of anger, stunning both Momo and Turbo Granny. Wondering how this happened, Momo's grandmother explains that thanks to the paper fan from earlier, Turbo Granny's consciousness was driven out of Okarun's body, but her powers remained within him. She reveals that only she has the ability to return Turbo Granny to her original form. Sweating in horror, Turbo Granny is comedically beaten by the grandmother who begged for forgiveness. Though they are enemies, Momo tells Turbo Granny that she can't bring herself to hate her after learning about her act of kindness towards the deceased girls within the tunnel. She makes a deal with Turbo Granny, offering to return her powers in exchange for helping them find Okarun's balls. Turbo Granny agrees to the deal, but unfortunately reveals that she had lost Okarun's balls. Late at night, Momo and Okarun venture out to search for the missing balls, said to be wrapped in a golden layer of spiritual energy according to Turbo Granny. Since they haven't found them, Turbo Granny believes that either a spirit or a yokai has taken possession of them, as their powerful life force draws them in. The three then return to the house after their failed search. Seiko, Momo's grandmother, offers to help by calling an acquaintance for support and warns Okarun to be careful about keeping Turbo Granny's powers under control. The next day at school, Okarun is approached by a few male classmates who request that he introduce them to Momo. After one of them comments on Momo being cute, Okarun starts to blush, but he quickly tries to dismiss these feelings since he only sees her as a friend. Suddenly, he overhears one of the male classmates mentioning an inappropriate rumor about Momo. This angers Okarun, causing him to accidentally transform into his Turbo Granny form and scare the classmate. After noticing, Okarun calms himself, apologizes for his actions, and returns to his seat. To his surprise, Turbo Granny reveals herself from his backpack wearing a look of glee on her face after witnessing him transform in public. Concerned about her being seen, Okarun rushes out of his classroom, but he hears her trying to trick him into giving her back her powers, to which he refuses. Okarun reacts, feeling flustered after Momo makes her appearance, remembering his earlier thoughts about Momo being cute. Overwhelmed with emotion, he finds himself unable to look Momo directly in the eyes. Okarun chooses to run away from her, unknowingly leaving Turbo Granny to roam around the school. Later, Momo returns to class, wondering why Okarun is trying to avoid her. She hears from her friend that Okarun defended her after a student badmouthed her, much to Momo's shock. Meanwhile, the girl whom Momo dropped the tub on yesterday reflects on how she came to see Momo as evil after seeing her psychic hands, mistaking them for devil wings. It's revealed that she had been spreading the false nasty rumor about Momo in response. Then, she pulls out a golden ball that she found yesterday from her pocket, believing it to be a message that she is determined to save the world. Yesterday, while walking at night, Aira is hit in the head by a golden ball. She gazes at a stream of light riding along the railway, which prompts her to take possession of the golden ball, amazed by the sight. Back in the present at school, Aira is met by her friends who bring her over the requested item she asked for in preparation for her mission to save the world. Aira then warns her friends that she has spotted a mysterious woman in red outside the school, only to hear from them that the woman is only visible to her. She comes to the conclusion that the woman must be Momo's familiar sent to spy on them. After attempting to hide from the woman, Aira is caught acting suspiciously by two boys. She tries to play it off casually while secretly communicating to her friends to meet her after school. Meanwhile, on top of the roof, Momo asks why Turbo Granny has come to school, only for Granny to snap back, asking if she needed Momo's permission to attend. The two begin to bicker while Okarun changes the subject, learning from Turbo Granny that she spotted a mysterious woman lurking around. They discuss the possibility of a human picking up one of Okarun's golden balls, which could lead them to awaken the power to see spirits and be attacked by them. Turbo Granny then tells the two that she will explain more about the mysterious woman after school. Later, Aira wonders to herself if she could handle fighting both Momo and her familiar and looks outside to see the woman in red getting closer. Meanwhile, in the halls, Momo is approached by Aira, whom she recognizes as the girl she dropped the basin on yesterday, requesting to meet with her in private. Momo agrees to talk to Aira somewhere else, not wanting to make things difficult, and tells Okarun that she will meet up with him later. Okarun is then informed by Turbo Granny in his backpack that the mysterious woman she spotted earlier has appeared. After following Aira to an abandoned building, Momo finds herself ambushed by Aira's two friends, who handcuff and restrain her, while Aira attempts to exorcise Momo with a rosary and a Bible. Becoming irritated by their actions, Momo uses her psychic powers to push Aira's friends off of her. Aira becomes shocked to once again see Momo's demon wings and pulls out the golden ball to aid her with her exorcism attempt. After learning that Aira has one of Okarun's golden balls, Momo tries to explain its significance to her, but has no luck getting through to her. Suddenly, Momo sees Okarun running in, worrying about her, and warns him that Aira has one of his balls and that she is the mysterious woman. However, Okarun corrects Momo, explaining that Aira is the mysterious woman's target, who suddenly finally appears to grab Aira off of Momo. After grabbing Aira, the mysterious woman declares to her to be her mother. Okarun attempts to save Aira by entering his Turbo Granny form, but he is unable to lay a finger on the mysterious woman due to her possessing skills that allow her to dodge his moves. The mysterious woman then shocks Momo by swallowing Okarun whole as she tries her best to save him. However, with her hands tied behind her back, Momo struggles to control her powers. Using this to her advantage, the spirit kicks Momo away, completely swallowing Okarun whole. Aira hears from the mysterious woman that she had been waiting for her over 10 years to see Aira again, ever since their last encounter when Aira was little and called her mother. The mysterious woman begins crying, pleading with Aira to call her mommy. After getting back on her feet, Momo is suggested by Aira to team up with her to defeat the mysterious woman. However, Momo becomes confused as to what Aira is getting at and is informed by Turbo Granny that the mysterious woman is known as Acrobatic Silky, a yokai known for her acrobatic abilities and her signature red dress. After hearing Aira call her out as her enemy, Acrobatic Silky swallows the girl out of frustration and blames Aira's misbehavior on Momo, violently shouting. Realizing she is in danger, Momo asks Turbo Granny to help. However, the doll smirks and informs her that she can't afford to do anything since her powers have been stolen. Momo is then grabbed by the throat by Acrobatic Silky's hair and is thrashed around like a swing ride until she is forced to apologize. However, Momo rejects Acrobatic Silky's request to be called mommy and instead calls her a moron, ending up being swallowed as well. Acrobatic Silky begins crying, asking where her child is, until she is confronted by Turbo Granny. Turbo Granny tells her that she should spit out the 3 children or face consequences. She adds that as a Meneki Nico, she has the power to invite good luck and that the yokai has swallowed some of her hair in her mouth. Suddenly, Acrobatic Silky is set ablaze, burning from the inside. As Turbo Granny predicted, Momo has used the lighter rosary Aira had on her to set Acrobatic Silky's hair on fire, forcing the yokai to vomit them out. Having successfully rescued Aira, Momo and Okarun prepare to launch a counterattack against Acrobatic Silky. Demanding to get Aira back, Acrobatic Silky chases after Momo and Okarun as they try to keep an unconscious Aira away from her. Despite the crowded building, Okarun in his Turbo Granny form is instructed by Momo to continue carrying Aira while having Acrobatic Silky chase after him. Momo assures him that she has a plan in mind. After stomping down on Momo, Acrobatic Silky pursues Okarun, who lands a fierce kick, causing him to de-transform and drop Aira as a result. Acrobatic Silky manages to catch up to Aira and declares that if Aira doesn't want to call her mommy, she'll consume her so the two can be together forever. However, Acrobatic Silky then finds herself unable to grab Aira after her damaged hair gets tangled by the building's beams, which goes according to Momo's plan. Before she could break out of her restraints, Momo uses her psychic powers to grab hold of her legs and commands Okarun to attack Acrobatic Silky in his Turbo Granny form, much to Okarun's surprise, since he doesn't have an attack planned. Momo, unable to restrain the yokai any further, manages to free herself. Just as she does, Okarun uses his speed to launch himself at Acrobatic Silky, landing a direct attack to her sternum and successfully brings her down. With Acrobatic Silky defeated, Momo is impressed by Okarun's attack, although Turbo Granny herself calls it pitiful. Nonetheless, Momo and Okarun retrieve the golden ball from the unconscious Aira, only to soon learn from Turbo Granny that Aira is actually dead. After checking her pulse, Okarun confirms that Turbo Granny was right in stating that Aira is dead, a result of being an ordinary human who was eaten by a yokai. Despite Turbo Granny telling them that it was too late to save her, Momo and Okarun try desperately to revive her by massaging her heart, giving her CPR, and calling for an ambulance. Suddenly, the two put up their guard after seeing Acrobatic Silky back on her feet. However, they are surprised to hear the yokai expressing a desire to help save Aira by transferring her aura into the girl. Momo expresses her doubts to Acrobatic Silky about her willingness to help, prompting Acrobatic Silky to viciously rip out her own mouth as proof that she will not try to eat Aira again. She insists that if she does, Momo should smash her head with the steel beam, with Turbo Granny adding that she is indeed telling the truth. Despite still being unconvinced, Momo instructs Okarun to be on guard in his Turbo Granny form as she decides to go along with Acrobatic Silky's plan to transfer her aura into Aira using her psychic powers. As Momo begins begins the procedure, she suddenly peers into Acrobatic Silky's past life, witnessing the yokai as a struggling mother trying to take care of her daughter. One tragic night, their house gets broken into, and she watches helplessly as her child and savings are taken away from her. Her final moments are revealed as she attempts to sprint as fast as she can to track down the thieves, but slips and falls in the pouring rain. Bleeding and utterly defeated, she begins to weep. Then, she finds herself atop a building, reminiscing about her daughter one final time before committing while performing acrobatics. While standing in a crowd, trying to remember what she has lost, Acrobatic Silky, as a spirit, is encountered by a young Aira who accidentally mistakes her for her mother. After Aira returns to her father, who tells her to stay strong for her deceased mother, Acrobatic Silky comes to believe that she was Aira's mother when she was alive. Feeling a sense of duty to protect Aira, Acrobatic Silky converts into a yokai. Upon seeing Acrobatic Silky's past, Momo sheds tears of sadness, leaving Okarun to suspect that Acrobatic Silky has done something sneaky. This prompts him to ready himself to take down Acrobatic Silky. However, Momo intervenes and tells Okarun not to harm her. To their surprise, they realize that Aira has been brought back to life. With the procedure deemed a success, Acrobatic Silky apologizes to Aira for her actions and begins to slowly fall apart. Momo receives information from Turbo Granny that due to Acrobatic Silky losing her aura and having lingering regrets, she will not pass over to the afterlife. Instead, her existence will be forgotten. Momo asks if there's any other way Acrobatic Silky can achieve Nirvana, but Turbo Granny reiterates that whether or not she achieves Nirvana is a matter of her own heart and that nothing can be done. In the midst of her misfortune, Acrobatic Silky regains the memories she had of her actual child and expresses regret for not treating her right as a mother. She then finds herself embraced by Aira, who calls her mother and tells her that she loves her, saying because she was the happiest in the whole universe. This touching moment results in Acrobatic Silky managing to pass on into the afterlife. Momo becomes emotional upon witnessing this and hears Aira wishing that Acrobatic Silky and her child go to a much better place. To see what happens next in Dandadan, you're going to want to click on this video right here.